Hi, I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together we are East-West Audio Body Shop. It's great to be back, and because you've missed us so much, our first show back is jam-packed with guests and other important stuff. Our special guest will be Bobby Brill, who's a voice actor in China. I wonder what home studios are like there.
Also, Harlan Hogan will be joining us once again with another important product announcement. Plus, we'll talk with our good friend Dave Courvoisier. He'll drop by to give us the skinny on VOAT.
That's VOAT. That's not the November vote. It's VOAT, and it stands for Voice Over Awareness Today.
I'll also share the latest in tech news, what's going around the web in the last couple of weeks. I've got a couple interesting things regarding microphone technology, pop screen technology, as well as mic preamp technology.
And I'll be attending Uncle Roy's Barbecue in New Jersey this Saturday, and I'll have a full report with interviews and a look at the fun.
That's East-West Audio Body Shop, live this Sunday night at 9 p.m. in the East.
6 o'clock Pacific. We'll see you then.
He's the voiceover studio engineer of the Stars in Los Angeles, California, a Virginia Tech grad with a knowledge of recording studios unmatched in his field. He's a voice actor from Buffalo, New York, with 30 years experience in recording studios and behind the mic. He solves people's home voiceover studio problems in the blink of an eye. Together, there's no studio problem they can't solve, and they'll do it for you tonight. Welcome to East-West Audio Body Shop. Now, live from a basement in Buffalo and an office in L.A., here are Dan Leonard and George Whittam.
Hi, I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together, we are East-West Audio Body Shop. I sped it up for you there a little bit. Wow, we've been gone for a while.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
It has, but it's good to be back, and it's actually good to be back here in Buffalo in my marvelous tower studio. We have a new intro coming because I'm not in the basement anymore.
Exactly.
You know, we have to get Courvo in on that, and we're going to recut all that. So we update it for our new season here. This is our 63rd episode, or 62nd.
62nd. 62nd.
62nd. I can't count. Maybe why don't we just don't count the first one? Maybe
right. Maybe we should.
The safest way to get
or we
away
don't count.
with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But do we have a show for you tonight? It is chock full of all sorts of people. We've got Bobby Brill's joining us all the way. Is he in Beijing?
Yeah, he is in Beijing, I believe.
He's actually in Beijing, and he's going to be live with us. It's like tomorrow morning there.
Yeah, he said good morning when I logged on because it's 8:45 in the morning or 9 in the morning there.
All right. And we've got Harlan Hogan's going to be joining us a little bit later on in the hour after Bobby's on, and because he has a big product announcement. So we want to make sure that you all stick around for that.
I'm excited.
And Dave Courvoisier is going to be joining us in just a couple of minutes too, because he wants to talk to us about VOAT, vote. We're not sure how to pronounce. We're going to have to ask him about
I just
that.
learned it's vote.
See, I was right. Why don't people listen to me?
I always call it
always saying around the house.
VOAT.
It's vote.
It really ruins the plays on words when you call it.
Yeah. That's right. So let's remember to vote and vote often. Anyway, but I was at Uncle Roy's Barbecue. We're going to have some video from that. Is it perfect? No. But the party itself was. So we'll get into that a little bit later on. I want to thank Uncle Roy and family for it was a wonderful party. It really, really was. How was your week? Looked like you were enjoying the end of summer on the shore.
Very much. Yeah, we were taking full advantage, meeting up with some of the neighbors. It's the first time I've lived somewhere in LA where getting to know my neighbors. There's other people around with kids at the same age. It really does feel like a neighborhood for the first time. I'm really, really loving where we are. And we go out and meet up with the neighbors on the beach Saturday evening around 4:35. And hang out and with the kids. It's really, really cool. I'm loving that. We had a couple of nice little shakers this week. There were 2 earthquakes centered in Beverly Hills within a few days of each other, each of them in the mid 3.0 Richter scale range.
That's nothing.
Oh yeah, nothing. Didn't chip the paint or anything. I was sitting in my office and I felt a little bit of a waving about midnight last time, and that was that. You know, my theory, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way, is more little ones are way better than like the occasional really bad one. So it's okay when the faults are settling and relieving pressure. That's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
We don't really get these here. I mean, what we get here is bang, and that's it. The hell was
Have you
that?
had one of the? Is that you sure that's not a sonic boom from a low flying jet?
Yeah, it sounds like a pallet falling off a truck,
Right.
and that's all. And it's like, okay, did somebody drop a pallet off a truck?
Yeah.
And no, it was. Yeah.
Sometimes those are sonic booms. Actually, you know that?
I haven't heard a sonic boom in a long time.
Yeah. Occasionally you get a sonic boom, and you shouldn't. It's certainly against the law, but it happens.
Yep. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Anything interesting going on in the tech world this week?
Oh man, what's going on this week? I'm getting all this stuff thrown at me from Bo Weaver. Anything gadget wise that he tries out and finds that he doesn't like it that much, doesn't want to keep it, he gives it to me. So I'm going to start playing with some of these things that are landing on my lap and let you guys know what I think of some of these gadgets. I did just come up with a mic preamp. And, you know, we always talk a lot about front end versus back end processing and why you need it and why you don't, whatever. But I did find this thing. It's the Roland MMP2 mic modeling preamp, okay? So this is the ultimate in let's try to do everything digitally as humanly possible, you know. So this thing takes your mic input and then tries to make it sound like other famous microphones, you know. But that's not what I think is cool about it. What I think is cool about this thing is if you really do need to do front-end processing, let's say you do use Source Connect a lot these days and you have to have a signal going out that's pre-sweetened, you can load all those settings into this box and get it dialed the way you want it. Dynamics, EQ, compression, gating, everything that you need to make your signature sound when you're on Source Connect or ISDN, you can load it into this thing. And it stores tons and tons of presets. So you can immediately just turn a knob and hit a button and it recalls. It also plugs into the computer with USB, and then you can have a program running on the computer that lets you manage your presets. If you don't like the interface on this box, which is a little wonky to use, you can do it all in software. And the software is both Windows and for Mac, which is pretty rare these days. So
who makes this?
This thing is made by Roland, and it is no longer being made. That's the crazy thing. You know, I don't think they knew how to market it. You know, I think it was like $600. So it was expensive for like the home musician market and cheap for the pro market. And I don't know, you know, Roland really knows how to make good quality products. Their audio is really quality, but they're really lousy at interface. You know, like industrial design, and they're lousy at marketing their stuff too, I think. So
yeah, well, it's a very specialized market. My first digital recorder was a Roland, and it's lots of orange buttons.
Right.
Okay, yeah, and you had to read the instructions, and it was like kind of nutty. But if they're not making that anymore, I'll bet you there's a bunch on eBay. Maybe we should buy up a bunch of them.
Well, that's where this one I got from Croatia. No,
Croatia?
I'm not kidding. Yeah, it was $110 with shipping from Croatia.
Wow.
So they're all over eBay. There are numerous ones on eBay. You're going to spend between, you know, 120 to 250 maybe. You may find them for more. Maybe people that buy it now is for higher. But I'm not a big fan of like going to gear sluts for, you know, advice on everything. But if you want to get like the most anal possible review of a piece of equipment and really know what that thing is like from someone that actually really cares and knows what they're talking about, sometimes that's sometimes a good place. And I found out about this unit on there, and the guys were saying the AD conversion was really good. The mic preamps were really clean, and I was like, wow, okay, well, I'll look into this thing. Oh yeah, it has digital out too. So it's got AES out and SPDIF out. So if you really want to go digital all the way, you could get a little box that goes from this coax output to an optical output, and then plug that into your iMac or your Mac Mini or your MacBook Pro and stay digital all the way. So
wow, that's the only way to go.
Pretty nifty little box. I'll let you know as I get to plug it in and start playing around with it. Who knows? It may end up in somebody's studio. Half the time when I play around with something and I find out it's actually good, it ends up in a studio. So
you can send it here. I mean, I'll be glad to try it.
Yeah, I'll send it off to you. Another little box real quick, and I'll move on, but another little thing that just showed up on my radar, it's called the Mixer Buddy. It's made by Broadcast Tools, and this company is specific to the radio industry. Unless you know about the radio business and you shop at like BSW a lot, you'll never even hear of this company. But what this little box does is if you do have a mixer and your studio is based around like a Mackie mixer or something, and you have trouble where you have to turn down the mic and then turn up your speakers and back and forth so you don't have feedback loop and all that kind of stuff, this box eliminates the problem, because what it does is it patches your monitor speakers through a loop that goes through this box. And then it has inserts that plug into the mic input on your board, insert jack. In other words, so what happens is if you push mic 1, it turns on your mic and it turns off the speakers. And that's what a real broadcast console on a radio station does.
I was going to say, it's like being on radio.
Yeah,
why we actually wear headphones on radio.
Yeah, it's called the Mixer Buddy for a reason. They developed this thing so all the low budget broadcasts out there like ours that need something like this has a way to switch speakers and monitors and make it feel more like a real radio show. And these things are like $150. My dad was making a simple version of one of these for my clients, and it cost more than that because he was making it painstakingly by hand in the basement. But this thing really does an amazing job. It really works. It'll turn your on-the-air light on and off, and it even has a monitor volume control of its own, so you can control your speakers. So pretty nifty little box from Broadcast Tools called the Mixer Buddy.
All right. Well, let's see here. What's next on our agenda? Oh, we gotta call Courvoisier here. Should I call Courvoisier and get him in on the call here?
Yeah, add him in. Just
okay.
Do you know how to add him to the call?
Of course, I know how to add him to the call. It says add people, and then you go to C.
Sometimes it's not as obvious as it should be.
Yeah, I know. Actually, I should go to D because that's probably where he is. Yeah. There he is. He's right there. So let's add Corvo to the call here.
Crossed.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
I hear him. Hey, and there he is.
Da da da.
Da da da. To the miracle of broadcasting.
It worked.
Incredible. Amazing. Anywho.
Face plant.
Corvo, what a pleasure to have you back on the show.
It is my pleasure entirely. How are you guys doing? The show's looking great. 62 episodes. Kudos, buddy.
Thank you. Don't watch the show and listen to us on the show. You're in broadcasting. You know that.
Okay, so I'll listen on my headphones.
Listen on your headphones.
Turn off the Ustream broadcast.
Turn off the volume on the Ustream broadcast.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's about 6 or 7 seconds behind.
Now you can hear
me. Here. I got to switch something real quick.
That's
and
okay.
then we'll get going.
That's okay.
My audio should be somewhere else. Okay, now we go.
Now you can hear us?
I got you.
Oh, good.
Sweet.
Dave, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Dave could do that on the fly, by the way. I think we planned that just to show how good Dave is at fixing a problem right on the fly.
You guys are too good. Yeah, you're killing me here.
That's right. Never panic.
Okay.
And had you been with us? Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks for having me on. And actually, it really dovetails really well with Harlan's appearance because he's giving something as a prize for VOA today that is just hot on the market, and he's just developed. It's his third generation. I'm going to let him talk about it. But it's one of our prizes for the fourth week, and we're really excited about it. I saved it for the last week of the promotion during the month because I really want people to participate right up to the very last.
Now, explain to everybody. Now, the people who are watching this show, if they don't know about this, they must be living under a rock. But for those that are actually living under a rock, and I know a few, explain to us what VOAT is all about.
It stands for Voice Over Awareness Today, as you mentioned. The website is voatoday.com. Pretty simple. I use the homonym vote, V-O-A-T, V-O-T-E, because it's election season, and you can vote, in a sense, by contributing just an answer to a question that I post every week. So I'll post a new question every Monday. You can sign on, throw an answer in there, send a picture if you want, and then everybody else can react to it. They can comment on it. Other people can also comment and post something. And just by merely participating, you're eligible for a number of prizes. And boy, I got a great prize package this week and every week. And that's all. It's not a contest. It's just, you get lucky. I pull you on a random number draw and you win a prize.
Yeah. Now, this week we had people were sending in studio pics.
Yeah, got over 60 studio picks and the spectrum. I mean, everything from rudimentary to really advanced. I mean, Cliff Zellman sent in his specs, and I was like, "Phew, man, this guy's good." And other people who are really starting out and have put up curtains and a microphone and making it work. It's innovation at its best.
All right. Well, are you going to publish all of them so we can all see what everybody else's sausage factory looks like?
You can see them all right there on the VOA Today site. They stay on the site. You can just look right through the whole spectrum of the shots. It's real easy to comment on somebody's studio if you want to. Makes it real easy.
Outstanding. Now, how long? This is running for all of September.
Runs all month, and I started this 3 years ago with National Voiceover Month, which had moderate success, and then some people said, well, what about international? I said, well, it makes sense. So I kind of changed it to just voiceover awareness today, and it's anybody anywhere on the globe can participate. There's no cost, there's no strings in any way. It's just a collaborative resource for contributing knowledge and sharing knowledge.
And that's what our community is all about. And
we love it.
And you are the king. I am not worthy of being in your presence when it comes to our community and stuff like that.
Well, I keep trying.
All right. So what's going to be the thing this week?
This week, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet.
Oh,
it posts at midnight tonight Pacific time. It's I think it's the question that says, what is the minimum that you travel with if and when you have to go on the road and need to record an audition or a recording? I think that's the question.
Okay. Well, I met a bunch of those people yesterday.
Right. I can't wait to see the pictures of the barbecue. I know Roy's online here watching the show, and I can't wait to see how it turned out.
Yeah, and there's lots of pictures on Facebook too, because my video is like, But anyway, Dave, thanks for doing this. Thanks for taking the time and getting us all together to do this. And it's another great piece of our community, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody else's studio. And
thanks for having me on. And I know you contributed a picture, and I'm just having a ball with it. So yeah, stop on by voatoday.com and post a picture, send a couple of comments.
Excellent.
And congratulations to
Elizabeth.
Linda Joy.
Linda Joy won this week.
Linda Joy.
She won a subscription to voices.com for a year. Mm-hmm. And this next week, the grand prize is a subscription to voices123.com for a male and a female. So it's kind of a double grand prize. And you guys have given both George, you and Dan have given some great prizes to this. And they're all posted there on the site as well. You can look and see what you might want to win.
Outstanding. Well, Dave, thanks for being with us this week.
Thank you. Okay, buddy.
All right, we'll see you soon. Stay in the chat room. Everybody wants to talk to you.
Okay, I will.
All right, bye-bye. Okay, let's see here. Okay. All right, where are you?
We're all here.
Okay,
Gang's
we're all here.
Gang's all here.
Okay, outstanding.
I'm just trying to keep up in the chat room. The chat room is like, it's buzzing.
What's going
tonight,
on
man.
here? I know,
buzzing.
man, we've got a lot of people watching tonight.
Yeah.
I guess you missed us.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
There's a joke that goes along that, but it takes me too long to tell. But anyway, we'll be right back. We've got lots more coming up. We've got Bobby Brill's going to be talking to us from China. We've got Uncle Roy's Barbecue. We also have H2. Harlan Hogan will be joining us, and as Dave mentioned, talking about a new product announcement. So we'll be right back here at East West Audio Body Shop. You stay right where you are.
El Dorado Recording Services.
Randy Thomas chiming in.
This is Alex Verdi.
Hi, this is Bill Ratner in Los Angeles.
Hi, this is Scott Rummel here in Yorba Linda, California.
Hi, my name is Rick Wasserman.
Hi, this is Tom Kane.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Marshall.
Hi, my name is Zurich.
Hi, I'm Mary McKittrick.
Hi, I'm Peter McHugh.
I was turned on to George by none other than Don LaFontaine, who always swore by his health.
George is absolutely awesome.
ISDN, Source Connect, Phone Patch, FTP, you name it, George has set it up.
It's really the best thing I've ever done for myself. I feel free, safe, fearless, like anything is possible in here.
Unless you like to look for opportunities to waste time, call George.
And he did all of that, long distance over the phone and the internet.
I'm very happy with George, and I cherish
I've got my travel kit, I got my Source Connect, I've got it all going on, thanks to you.
Thanks, George. You make it easy.
And now, back to East West Audio Body Shop, where every week it's Apollo 13.
All right.
Well, that couldn't be further from no,
the truth.
No, wait, further from the truth. No, wait a minute. That couldn't be more true, actually.
Yeah, really. If you guys only knew how we're like on the edge of a knife here every week.
We could run another show that's the show of Dan and I getting ready for the show.
Right. That's always fun.
Exactly. Maybe we'll start doing that. I mean, I'll just like let Ustream roll, like, because like one of my my idols of webcast, Leo Laporte over at twit.tv. That's what they do. They just let it roll. It's just whatever happens there, shows all the setup and everything. But sometimes we can't even get that far. We're like, we have so many things we're trying to fix. So so far so good tonight.
So far so good.
Mm-hmm.
Knock on actual wood desk.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have now time for our next segment, which is...
Aha.
That's your cue.
That's my cue. Here we go.
It's now time for... Announcements! Announcements!
I haven't heard anybody else coming up with a better one yet. We've challenged you guys. This is an audience participation show. If you want to do a better jingle for announcements,
be our guest, please. Save us from ourselves.
I could just see Uncle Roy now going. Anyway,
Roy definitely would be a good candidate for that.
Oh, there was a bunch of people yesterday. I think I should have thought of it when I was there yesterday.
But you were there to have fun, man.
I really was there to have fun, which I did. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes, though. But what do we got in announcements? First off, we've got, we have some great sponsors. Of course, Harlan's been a great sponsor of ours for a while. Bob Ball with Pop Quizzical and Voiceover Extra has been very big for us. And by the way, I want to thank John Florian and Voiceover Extra because we had a great crowd for our what was the last one we did? It was on acoustics. Yeah. You think I would remember that? But I was actually with John yesterday, and he was driving me back to the hotel in the afternoon so I could check in. Any of you know Highway 3 in New Jersey? If you miss a turn, you're ending up on Long Island because there's no way to turn around. Oh, so we missed the hotel, and it's like, well, let's get on the turnpike. No, we got to go. Okay, I'm going to. Anyway, so while we're doing this, we had a good conversation, and he was telling me that he's almost got it set up. So if you want to get any one of the webinars that George or I have done with VoiceOver Extra, you'll just be able to go to the site, click on it, and pick the one you want.
Awesome.
And I'm hopefully paid with it with PayPal. And
awesome.
But he says it's almost there. I can see the sun coming over the horizon on that.
I've been dying for that. I'm glad.
Yeah.
It's it's great content, and we need to make it easy for people to get to it. And anytime anybody asks me for something, I always refer to them to John and say we've got it there. And John has always been accommodating. But to make it easy for someone to just visit the site and know where to go and click, that's what we've been looking for. So thank you, John. Thanks for pulling that together. I know that was not easy.
Yeah, and George and I are going to be doing a lot more webinars with VoiceOver Extra too, and the audio quality will be spectacular.
Now I just need to get you and your picture to be in sync right now. You know what I'm going to do when we play this next segment? I'll hang up on you and I'll call you back.
Okay,
I think it's cool. Every time we bring another caller in on Skype and mix them in, it creates new problems, and then usually if I hang up on you and call you back after we have a guest, it clears it up. So we'll figure it out.
We'll work with it.
Episode 62. It's a learning curve.
That's right. All right. Well, eventually we're going to get it right. Also, it wasn't in our notes, but you and I wanted to announce this week that we're going to be starting a new co-service.
Oh, we are. It is indeed what we are planning to do. It just sort of was an organic thing. It
was happening anyway. So
yeah. I started doing these kind of sort of a contract service things with my company, just offering flat rate annual packages so that people can get all the services they need. And then I thought, well, you know what? We could do one that's email-based for EWABS. So that's what we're doing. And so what you can do is you can just go over to ewabs.com, and up on the top, there's a button that says support. I can't think of a better thing to call it right now. So if you're on ewabs.com, just click on the support button in the menu, and you'll see what it's all about. It's unlimited one-on-one email support from Dan and I, and you can get it for $75 a month or pay up front for a full year for $750. Sounds like a big chunk, but you do get 2 free months as part of that deal if you pay for a full year in advance. And anything that comes to mind, any questions you have about anything in your studio or your computer, just pop an email off to us, and Dan or I, or sometimes even both of us, will get back to you. We'll get 2 brains are better than 1. Most of the time. And so we'll be able to respond, relatively quickly to your questions. And I think it's going to be a great way for people to get a lot more private support via email. And also you're supporting EWABS. And that's why we decided to do this as a product for EWABS. You're helping our show stay on the air when you become one of our e-support members. So check it out. And we hope some of you jump on board and join in on our new program, and let us know what you think and if there's anything we can do to make it better.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Because I'll tell you something, there's nothing I enjoy more than answering people's questions. And the questions we get, I think we actually have a couple of questions we might actually be able to answer tonight when a little bit later on in the show.
Yeah, I mean, we get so many questions, we can't possibly get to them all on the show. That's the problem.
I know. Yeah. And it's usually something simple, but we try to make it sound complicated. Right. Anyway, well, let's move on to the next item of business here. Sir. Now, I see in the chat room, a lot of people who were there yesterday for Uncle Roy's barbecue are in the chat room, and we had a wonderful time. Now, I had a few camera problems, and not everybody's in there. When you do a video of something and you like, hi, and everybody's name's it's not going to be like that because I didn't get to everybody, mostly because I was partying, but then the camera wasn't, my iPhone wasn't working all that great.
Now you see how it is challenging, even with a basic setup like that, just to pull something off like that. There's a lot.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Right. But add into it the weather, and then you'll see what happened. Anyway, let's go to that segment right now.
Wow, Roy. When you say you're going to make a place up for a party, you don't mess around. Gee whiz, Roy, it's so authentic. How did you do it? And the ice sculpture, that's really cool. Nice job.
Whatever it is. It's up.
I think I'm coming to a party, and son of a gun, he puts me to work setting up speakers.
Did you drive?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, that's why they left Long Island on Thursday.
All right, we've made it to Uncle Roy's, and we have a lineup here.
Yay!
We have Trish Bassani. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All in purple. What a surprise. Peter.
Surrounded by 2 women. What a surprise.
Very good. Diane.
Diane Havens. Hi.
Nice to see you.
So
you've been in the continent.
I have. I just came back a few days ago, last Tuesday.
How was it? How long were you there?
I was there for 2 weeks, seeing my family and my friends. It was absolutely amazing. I hadn't been back in 12 years, so it was long overdue. And when I came to the Netherlands, I said, okay, I'm an American citizen now. I'm never ever going to contemplate living in Holland again. But after 2 weeks, I said, you know what? I could seriously consider going back. Not now, but in a couple of years. So that was the impact it had on me.
Did you remember all your Dutch?
It been summer. I've been in the basement editing.
Summer went by.
Yes, it has. You've missed it.
I looked out once or twice.
Yeah.
So what are you working on these days?
I'm doing a lot of e-learning, but I'm trying to get back on the commercial wagon because I miss 15-second scripts.
I don't blame you.
What have you been up to?
Audiobook, so I would kill for
15-hour scripts.
True.
So not into making a living right now.
Yeah, well, you just have to work a lot longer.
Lots of editing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Peter, what have you been up to?
Books, mainly. Trying to pick up some educational stuff and doing a few on the way, but mainly, as I say, it's the 15-hour scripts. It's, oh, lovely, another book. We weren't doing anything August, were we? Okay, fine.
It's a party.
Hi, EWABS, it's raining now. Good evening. Rosemary Benson sang, and the Lord decided to cry.
And welcome to Bloomfield, New Jersey.
Hi.
It won't last. This is what happens when you have tornado warnings and huge rainstorms in the middle of a big party. Of course, there's always more fun inside at these parties.
That's fun. That's what fun is. Now, of course, we were singing, all the songs from Fiddler on the Roof there, and somebody mentioned, boy, there's a lot of Jews in this room. But, because we all knew the words to all that one. But, after the rain hit, and it was like it was nasty. I mean, there was actually a tornado in the Rockaways that morning,
really?
This thing came through, but it did not dampen the spirits of this party. It was just really, really great, and it wasn't just a party. I mean, it's what it's like when this community gets together. It was a lot of our good friends from from the tri-state area, and it's always wonderful to see them. And we had a great time. When the singing started, it got kind of emotional for some of us, but it was a lot of fun, and it really did last. I was there from like 10 o'clock in the morning until 1 at night, and 1 the next morning. So it was
nice.
If I seem a little draggy tonight, maybe that's why my voice is lagging behind my picture.
Right. It's not exactly in your backyard, is it, Dan?
No, it really isn't. No, it was fun to just pick myself up, go and have some great conversations with some of the most wonderful people who I really love, and they're great fans of our show, and people who I did not know who came up to me and said, "We watch your show. Oh, it's wonderful." And I'm like, really?
It's hard to get used to that, and it never gets old either. It's really fun, That's one of the fun.
I told you that was going to happen.
That's what makes it fun to go out and socialize and go to these events. I was really hoping to go to that. I should learn. It's like when you host a party, especially an outdoor party in the Northeast or even the East Coast, anytime between like August and October or November, be prepared for anything to happen weather-wise. We've had a couple of big parties. One, my wedding, and another one was like a luau, both in my parents' backyard. And both times we had to have a huge canopy because at any moment it could have just, opened up the faucet. And we kind of wished it did at my party because it was like 85 degrees and humid in October. Wow. But,
I got that beat. My bar mitzvah, January 10th, 1970. 4 feet of snow.
Oh, yeah.
People dragged themselves in. It was, kind of memorable. But yes, I guess that's just the luck of some parties. Anyway, the party's going to continue here because we've got a great guest coming up next who's going to be joining us from far, far away, and you don't want to miss it. Bobby Brill will be joining us from Beijing. So you stay tuned right here to East West Audio Body Shop. We'll be right back.
And now back to the only webcast done with 2 cans, 2 geeks, and a string. East West Audio Body Shop with George Whittam on his end in the West and Dan Leonard in the East.
And we're back here on East West Audio Body Shop, and joining us from far, as far away as you can get from even the East and the West, much farther east, joining us from Beijing, China. Or is it Beijing? I forgot. I forgot. The brain is just going. Joining us from China, Bobby Brill. How are you, Bob?
Oh, very, very good. It's glad to be on. I'm very happy to be on the show here in the far, far wild East.
And we even have the delay speech and picture on, out of sync for Bobby, which would make it even more appropriate coming from the Far East. It's just really
well, that's
funny.
good. That means I'm actually really in Beijing and not in a studio apartment in Tarzana.
Exactly. Well, I will say that Bobby and I tested it before the show, and his picture quality and sound was absolutely flawless. It's just when we force Skype to do this conferencing things get a little wonky. So we will all pray to these Skype gods. Please be nice to us. And
our dear leader will help us, dear comments.
Yes, our dear leader.
Yes, absolutely. So you're in China now. I know a lot of guys are off in the Far East. A lot of English speaking people. What brought you to the land of dragons?
Well, to be honest, it was not my first choice, to be honest with you. China was not in my top 100 places even to go. I originally came in 2003 for a documentary. My background's in camera. I'm a cameraman and a photographer. And then in 2006, I went to work for an outsourcing firm, the evil outsourcing companies. And for 3 years was managing video post-production for an outsourcing firm. And that's really what brought me to China originally.
Wow. And now you're doing voiceover there.
Yeah, voiceover is kind of the strange turn of events. I had done some voiceover strictly as temporary fill-in voiceover on some of the video productions we were doing, being the only native English speaker in the company I was working for. Somebody had to do it, so I would just fill it in. And growing up in LA, and my dad worked in radio, I kind of knew how radio should sound, so I can do that really good AM radio. Welcome to KNX 1070 type voice.
Good morning, Beijing.
Hey, traffic at the 10s, 5 and 3, 75 degrees in North Hollywood. So I learned how to do that. And then the wonderful financial crisis killed it for everybody here. And I kind of found myself in Beijing going, well, I can go back to doing freelance. So I was doing camera and stuff like that. And a friend of mine had turned me on to the most basic type of voiceover work, and calling it voiceover work is a bit is glossing it up a lot. There's a lot of English language training software and products made in Beijing, throughout China, where it's just different toys and books for Chinese kids to learn English. So they need somebody who's a native speaker to sit down in front of a microphone for 3 hours at a clip and just read monster lists of ducks go quack, dogs go woof.
Hey,
and I just started doing that.
That's real voiceover work. There's a lot of people here in the States doing that. What do they call it? E-learning type work, Dan?
E-learning work,
yeah. And so that's kind of how I started and learned how to do that. And it started off just as beer money, and now it's just the more I can do it, it's a decent living. But kind of blossomed into doing commercials, and I just did an actual real movie, and a lot of corporate work and things like that.
So yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I was wondering. So in China, unlike the United States, apparently a lot of English is spoken.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the hard part is they actually learn the phonetic alphabet. They've given me scripts where it's the phonetic alphabet and all these symbols and the schwa and the umlauts, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm American. I don't really know what that means. You're gonna have to get some Chinese person to come read this to me and give me examples, because I have no concept of what you're trying to have me read here.
Go ahead, George.
No, I actually can't even remember what I was going to say. So make me sound smart and ask some more good questions, Dan.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, so you're doing a lot of these, English commercials. And now I've done a lot of international work, and I'm amazed at how much English is required in many other countries, in Egypt and other places in the Middle East, and in Japan. And obviously it's big market. It's big in China now too, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, China is where everything's made, more or less. And so if you're going to promote your product, your brand, look for investors, in English still is the international business language. So a lot of the products that I've voiced their commercials for are something they're looking to sell to the West, either made in China by a Chinese company or looking for investors. So if you're going to promote your city, and a lot of the projects I do tend to be city promotion. So as they're going to be building a new development area, they'll have a government office that has a little Raiders of the Lost Ark map room of what it's going to look like, a big video wall, and if they're bringing French investors, there will be a French version of the video, a Chinese version, and then obviously an English version. And so you end up doing a lot of things like that. And they need English for absolutely everything from e-learning to I sent George some stuff. I've actually done promotional voiceovers for promotional videos on military equipment, which is always interesting. Things like that.
Yeah, I've done some e-learning stuff like that too, where it's like you're doing English words and you're teaching it to some foreign language. And there's one I was doing. It was like it seemed to be lines how to pick up somebody.
Yes,
it was that happened there.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to get it from my wife. I was like, "Honey, look, I really can be romantic and sexy."
I got a few samples here. Actually, I'll play them in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of people are asking questions in the chat room.
I've been
here.
trying to snatch them and drop them into a text file so I can keep up.
Yeah, but our good friend Paul has a question, and he's asking: is it a real advantage to you to be in China? I mean, would you be able to do the same thing here in the States?
Well, that is the $1 million question. I started doing it in China only for Chinese clients. So for me, all of my voiceover training and professional career has been in China for the Chinese market, and that's been for about 3 years. So I've kind of been learning as I'm going and paid practice. The easiest answer is financially, it's a very big difference. The amount of money I actually get paid for my voiceover here is about 10 to 20% cheaper than what I would do the exact same thing for, in theory, in the U.S.
Right, but you're doing all of it there.
There's about 3 or 4 of us in Beijing. Well, there's a couple of us in Beijing, a couple of us in Shanghai. But yeah, I mean, I do quite a bit. I mean, I actually do 4 or 5 final reads a day sometimes, if not more.
Boy,
but the money is the hard part because there are no unions. There are no such things as residuals. And they also bill by time. So if I get a 20-minute script for some useless thing like drill bits or explaining some geological exploration they got on some gorge, I'd rather read that because that's going to pay me more than just a few days ago before I left. I was in the U.S. Before I left, I did the taglines for a brand new power tool company that's going to be a national commercial, and I got paid a whopping $40 for it.
Oh, right, man. But does that $40 go farther in China?
It used to. It's starting to get. Beijing is about the equivalent of a second-tier city in the U.S. So when I was in the U.S., I was staying in Los Angeles and looking at Dallas. My rent on an apartment here, I have a 2-bedroom, 100 square meter. I don't know what meters out in the
be
real
like
world.
350 square feet, tiny.
2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, nice apartment, and my rent is $1,200 a month.
Not cheap. Not what we would think of as cheap from the U.S.
Beijing is not, super cheap. It used to be. When I came in 2006, you were kids in the candy store. I mean, a beer was 35 cents, a good dinner for 10 people, $20. Now it's changed a bit. It's gotten more modern. But fortunately, the prices have gone up. The rates have gone up. So, I mean, it's starting to get there. For me, now that I'm learning voiceover and actually how to do it the right way, because I still look at myself as learning, is within the next year is try to get U.S. clients and develop a U.S. style, because style-wise, that's one of the big differences. When you hear the voiceover I do in China, you kind of laugh because it's not.
Shall we play a clip?
Play a few clips. I want to hear this.
Okay, this is Bobby VO sample that clients like.
A history book passes on traditional culture throughout centuries past. A company is represented by the performance of its intelligent staff.
You get the idea.
Yeah.
I know what you mean, man. They love that. Like what we consider like a sort of a, we've kind of moved on from that style a little bit, right? Would you say?
Absolutely. I hope so.
Well, I mean, they clearly have an idea of what they think America is like, and what and I guess they probably want to go a little bit overboard with that to show how American they are.
Yeah, my dad said in the chat room, most harmonious.
Auspicious. Name of China.
Sorry, Bobby, say that again, because if we speak when you do, we step on you. So go ahead.
Very famous throughout China, auspicious and harmonious.
Here's another one.
全球100所著名教育机构向中国父母联袂推荐洪恩朗读者。中央电视台少儿频道最热播的英语动画片《洪恩英语》最受欢迎的卡通明星小熊泰迪化身为一支神奇的魔术笔来到你身边，不用大人教，不用大人陪，洪恩朗读者教你玩会英语。洪恩朗读者拥有世界巅峰技术，把声音印在了纸上。它内置高速 CMOS 摄像镜头和 3+ 双核处理器，轻轻一点就能让书本开口说英语。
I have a new eraser. I'm a doctor.
都是孩子喜欢玩的，玩的越多，英语越好。
我们是不懂什么英语，更不知道。
Well, no, okay. Which part of that was you, or did I cut out before you came in?
Obviously, that's not me speaking Chinese, but you can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, style that they want. That's actually hilarious because that's for a product that I actually did all the English language for.
Oh, okay.
And it's this. It's a teddy pen flashcard. So it's these little flashcards and this little cool little plastic doohickey that has somebody does English, somebody does Chinese. I like listening to music. I like listening to music. And then it has Chinese and all that kind of fun stuff. But that's one of the English language, one of the more common English language products that you end up doing, all these books and toys, things like that. But yeah, you can see their style is very, very different from what we do. Occasionally, we do get to do something good. One of the samples I actually sent you, George, the one from Tencent in the studio.
Yeah, I'll play it.
That's actually an American one where they'll actually bring in usually like a foreign director or somebody that's been trained in the U.S. to actually direct what they're doing because they know this is going to the U.S. specifically.
All right, here it is.
China, the most populous country in the world, now has the world's largest online population. It now boasts a total of 513 million online users. Come with us as we journey together through the exciting and amazing world of Digital China. This is Digital China, the power of science and technology, connecting people across 3.6 million square miles, creating a new way of life in China.
Awesome.
Wow. Yeah, I think we're going to have to do some marketing there, George, because we need to get our show on there. Imagine the market for that.
Oh, my God.
I mean, we do have viewers around the world, but, that's a good-sized market. We could probably do okay there.
More
Anyway.
questions.
Yes.
Devox said, how is the VO work market in Beijing compared to Shanghai?
Beijing, Shanghai originally was the home for all marketing. All of the marketing and advertising agencies were based in Shanghai for quite a long time. And like 2000, right before the Olympics, about 2007, 2008, the government wanted to move things closer to Beijing. So more of the media companies are in Beijing. And all my clients are in Beijing. I have a couple of clients in Shanghai. But Beijing, for me, seems to be where the majority of the market is. Certainly for e-learning, almost all of it is in Beijing. But commercial-wise, I would say 75% of it's based in Beijing now.
Okay.
So how's your Chinese? I mean, you've been there for 6 years now. I imagine obviously you're immersed in the language. And how hard was it to pick up?
Still difficult to pick up. 我会说一点普通话, meaning I only speak a little Chinese. It is a horribly different language. My wife is Chinese, and she would be much happier if I spoke Chinese, but it's very difficult to pick up. It's very difficult, especially when you're doing voiceover, because a lot of the times you're reading English, obviously, and then the Chinese names, the companies, the terms are in pinyin, which is using Arabic letters to write down Chinese words, and they're very backwards. So like a very common character is ZHI, which is pronounced jir, J-I-R. So you actually have to be reading it as you're going and going, okay, Z is not Z, it's jir. And you're reading it, welcome to January. This January, we will be bringing Zhi Jianyuan to Beijing and Zhongnanhai. And so it's very difficult to read Chinese while you're trying to do it. So my pinyin is okay, my reading Chinese, but conversation, so-so.
There was a question about your studio, since we do talk about home studios here.
Really?
Are we looking at your home studio over your right shoulder right there?
Of the home studio after finding a PDF of Harlan Hogan's VO on the Road and looking at his porta booth, I manufactured my own and tested it for quite a while and built it. So the beauty of the giant mattress wrapped around a big armoire filled with clothes to make an alcove, and some zip ties, and then a photo softbox. Quadrupled, built out with foam, and then my mic, and then my pop filter, a small notebook that I've got that's got no fan in it, so I can just kind of roll in and sit in my cave and go to work.
So your booth, the main piece of it, is a photo softbox that you filled with foam.
Just softbox that I got in China. But if you look at a lot of those booths, those porta booths, that's essentially what it is, and a softbox just makes it easy because it's already made, it's rigid, and you can fill it with the foam and just mount it the way you want. It's got a hole in the back so you can stick cables and stuff like that through it, and it's worked out pretty good. I mean, I spent a couple of weeks really testing it out and recording samples and dialing it in, and I've had no complaints. I'm always surprised when I see the finished product, how good it sounds. So it's been pretty successful.
The proof is in the pudding, man.
Yeah, I sense a road trip, George.
Oh man, totally. It's definitely. Say it again, Bobby.
Yeah, just a weekend road trip, real quick.
Oh, okay, all right. So, how is Chinese food in China? I know these are stupid questions, but everybody's curious.
Yeah, it's what people want to know.
Well, the Chinese food you eat in America is not Chinese food. There is no sweet and sour pork. There is no beef with broccoli.
That's
Chinese food is not as rich, not as sticky sweet, a lot spicier. I mean, a spice that American palates are not used to. You can, however, now in the U.S., when I was just there recently, you can find more modern Chinese food from real Chinese people, if that makes any sense. But the Chinese food's much spicier, much spicier, especially where I live. Even when I was back in the U.S., I was eating 10 times as much spicy food. I think my tongue is now burned. I don't think I have taste buds anymore from the amount of spice that I eat in China.
What's your favorite?
My favorite is probably going to be frog hot pot, which is one of my favorites. That's frog with an F. Dog you can get, but we're not really supposed to mention that because that makes people sad. But frog hot pot's very good. You eat a lot of organ meat for sure. Chicken feet's very, very popular. A lot of fish. I mean, seafood. If you like seafood, I mean, this is the place. I mean, clams, oysters, lobsters, crabs, shrimp. I mean, it's a daily common occurrence to get very good cheap seafood. So that's always a big plus.
Somebody said frog hot pockets.
Well, I'm sure that might be the next thing. I mean, still, if I could get a taco here, I'd never leave.
Outstanding. Well, Bobby, we're thrilled that you could join us tonight. So this morning, from so far away. One more question here, because I talk to a lot of people in the Far East. They don't seem to understand the time change either. They're not sure what time it is back here. That been a problem when communicating back to the States?
I just look at it now as there's daytime and there's nighttime. Time numbers doesn't matter. All I know is the sun's out. I should be working. Sun's going down. Somebody in America's working. So my phone's always on, and I'm always unfortunately working.
Fabulous.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Actually, there's one or two more real quickies.
Okay.
Can you recommend a good? Corvo says, do you know any good VO agents in Shinzu?
Sorry, I know one. I know no one. No. Anybody in China is an agent, to be honest with you. So that's the part you have to be wary about. Anybody's an agent. So finding a good agent, that's the hard part.
Was there one last one there?
How do you? I think. Do you do any one key thing to market yourself?
I email. I use Weibo, which is kind of like Chinese Twitter, and a lot of emailing. I had to get on my website. I had to have somebody write the Chinese for me, and I have emails that are all in Chinese, all written out, properly translated, so that I can send it to somebody who can read it. Because most of the time, the people you're dealing with, almost on every level of the voiceover production, are not native English speakers. You're usually the only one, so you have to get somebody to write up Chinese for you, and so that you can communicate. And so you do a lot of copying and pasting questions and answers in Chinese.
Okay.
Very good. Well, thanks for joining us. It was a thrill talking to you. You have to report back to us as things develop there and as styles and culture changes there, as you start mixing the cultures together, and let us know how you're doing there.
Absolutely. It was a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
All righty. Bobby Brill joining us from China, from Beijing. I say that right? Anyway, we got a lot more coming up tonight. Take care, Bobby. We'll be right back right after this.
Hey, my name is Bob Ball. I'm a voice actor and host of Pop Quizzical. Sure. I hear you thinking, Bob, what is this Pop Quizzical you speak of? Well, I'll tell you. It's a fun and funny, single-themed 10 to 15-minute audio quiz. It comes out every other week right here on the internets. You know, that thing that just about everything cool flows from. Pictures of cats, videos of dogs, and yes, Pop Quizzical. It's available on iTunes and wherever fine podcasts are sold. And it's easily found, too. Go to bit.ly/popquizzical. There's also a companion website at popquizzical.com with daily quiz questions, and every Friday over on the Pop Quizzical Facebook page, it's a Freebie Friday. Free stuff throughout the day. From The Muppet Show to James Bond to St. Patrick's Day, the Pop Quizzical podcast has a little bit of everything for you. Challenge your mind and your funny bone with Pop Quizzical.
Class dismissed.
And now back to the only webcast done with 2 cans, 2 geeks, and a string. East West Audio Body Shop with George Whittam on his end in the West and Dan Leonard in the East.
All right. We're back here in East West Audio Body Shop. And how do you know Bobby?
You know, it's one of those really bizarre meetings. I just worked on a film with him. When I first moved to LA, I was looking for any work I could find. I didn't have any voiceover industry hookups that were feeding me work at that point, and I was just doing production sound mixing on very low and no budget shows, and are actually films. And Bobby was a DPing or a cinematographer on a really, really bad movie that we worked on together. That is actually on Netflix, by the way. I actually got it on Netflix. I won't even say the name. It's so embarrassing how bad it is. And but Bobby was the DP on that, and we just hit it off. He just has a great personality. We had a lot of fun hanging on the set, and we stayed in contact ever since. And we worked on one or two things together, and he ended up going to China, and we just stayed in touch, And then all of a sudden he was saying, "Hey, I'm doing some voiceover stuff," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm working in the voiceover world too." It was just so bizarre how we were both getting into the voiceover business at the same time from different angles, obviously.
Right.
You never know. And we just stayed in touch. And he came in to the States for the last few months so he just got back to China. And I was like, "You should be on the show, man. I think it'd be a cool perspective for people to hear what you're doing over there." So
yeah. All right, hold on. Harlan's trying to call in on the other line.
Please.
I'm going to call him. Let him know that he's. Hold on a second. Harlan, where are you? I'll get it. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay, now back to you, George. Okay, let's add Harlan into this call now. Let's see. We type in an H and an A and an R and Harlan, H-A-L-A-N, Harlan Hogan. Let's call Harlan and add him to the call.
All right. Here we go.
All right.
Oh, he's just on the phone, right?
No, he's on Skype.
Because that's a telephone number showing up on my screen.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. Let me try the other one here. And,
which everybody just saw, so hopefully that was a public number.
Yeah, no. Let's see.
I could try it on my end, too. Let's see who can do it first.
All right, Harlan Hogan. Okay, let's see here.
I'm adding him in right
now. Okay, all right.
Wait a minute. There's no add person to call button. Wait, add to list, add to favorites, call. If I call him, it's going to put you on hold.
I don't know.
Come on, Skype. All right, let's see what happens. Yeah, I put Dan on hold.
I'm here.
Hey, Harlan.
Hey.
Are you doing video with us tonight?
Sure.
All right, cool. Turn on your camera. I'm gonna add Dan back into the call here.
Oh, every time you do that, the mustache screws us up. Okay.
Right.
I've got an anti-mustache spam protector here.
Let's see. Did we get Dan back in?
Nah, I got a mustache. We never get Dan in. You can get China, for God's sake.
I know, exactly.
Maybe that's a plus.
Exactly.
I'll sit here quietly.
I'll try to add Dan back in again here.
Okay.
Hanging up on Dan Leonard.
Mustache that just came up.
There's no add to call feature. Okay, click on Dan. Add to call. Trying again. And here comes Dan.
I was lost. It was.
All right, cut your playback.
Okay, it's off.
There
It's off.
is. Look at that.
Hey, Harlan.
Harlan, our favorite sponsor.
How you doing, my friend?
We are doing just wonderfully. Thank you for joining us tonight. How things in Chicagoland?
Things in Chicago. There's a gorgeous day today. We had all that crappy weather like you had in the East Coast last weekend, but sailed, motorcycled, enjoyed, 70 degrees, got the windows open. So probably 5 minutes from now, it'll be 108. That's very educational show. I learned things I never even dreamed. I mean, for example, did you guys actually prepare this?
We have a list. We actually follow the
And I learned that 2 of your brains are equal to 1. I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, this show clock is kind of a joke. It does tell us what to do. It doesn't. We just don't stick to the timing. It's impossible.
Right. It was originally an hour show. Somehow it just suddenly turned into an hour and a half show.
I noticed that, Mike.
Well, tonight you're in cryogenic freeze right now, Harlan, but we can hear you just fine.
Okay, good. That's all I care about. And I have to sue Bobby Brill too. So, yeah, a lot of education. A lot of education.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, well, we've got to make sure because you've got something you want to show us and tell us about, which I think is very, very important. Being our sponsor, which, by the way, we thank you and praise you. You know, I'm doing a lot of praising tonight, aren't I? But we are.
Still doesn't sponsor you, does he? I do.
That's right. That's true.
He seems like a nice. Now you're not only welcome, but I thank you too, because it's for me, number one, I love the two of you. You know that, and two, you know, you provide this oasis for guys like me, where after the 17th email about which end of the microphone do I speak into, the bottom or the top, I can say, I got a guy for you. So I love you guys. You do a great job, and it's an honor to be involved. And the check, I think, was already in the mail. So
it was. We got the drop. Thank you, man.
Yes, appreciate that.
So what is new with you, man? You are always you never rest. You never rest. What is the latest?
Evil never rests. That's true. Well, you gotta keep going, you know. I mean, yeah, I have something. I mean, this will look kind of familiar.
We have to unfreeze his picture there, George.
I don't know. Maybe I can hang up on him and add him back to the call. Let's try that, Harlan.
We'll be right back, Harlan.
Okay.
Yeah, he hasn't moved in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I think he's got like janky or bad Wi-Fi is my best guess.
That's a possibility, you know, or it's Mother's Day there again. We're not quite sure.
All right, let's try it. Here we go.
The damn mustache again.
We hear you.
Am I on?
Put your camera on.
We see as heard on TV, so that's a good start.
Okay, that's my logo. Where am I?
And
gotta click on the camera.
I gotta do that.
There you go. We always set it to not. There we go.
All right.
Looking good.
You're on.
I'm on?
You're on.
It's fantastic. Oh, I'm frozen on the other.
Yeah, you're on. You're looking good.
Oh, that purple. I was just going to hold this up because it probably looks familiar.
Mm-hmm.
This is a what?
Porta Booth Pro.
With Pro. You'll notice I'm holding it with my little finger.
Ooh, it's lighter.
It's 2 pounds lighter.
Ooh,
that may not sound like much, but I'm going to tell you something. In the manufacturing world, 2 pounds out of 11 is a lot. With the same sound. You'll notice it says powered by Oralex.
Nice.
Like the Porta Booth Plus is. We got rid of that reflective stuff because every time somebody took a photograph of it. Actually, that was... It had a tendency to... I thought it was cool, but it got worn, so I got rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
You could wear it while you were riding a bike at night, though, and it helped.
It turned out the reflective stuff weighed 2 pounds, so I'm glad you took it off.
Yeah.
Oh, it was not that. But anyway... No, we really worked on that. You know, this is the 3rd generation Porta Booth Pro, and no one's more shocked than I am. These are evolutionary changes, not revolutionary, because the fundamental product is good.
Mm-hmm.
And with feedback, for example, Dan, on the early one, with a few female clients of yours, there was a resonance that we hadn't detected when we did our testing, because we honestly didn't test with as many ladies.
Mm-hmm.
You found a great workaround. We, in 2.0, got rid of that resonance. So, you know, your products should evolve, I think. Weight was an issue because I slept one around, and 2 pounds is a lot after a while. Plus, the cost of shipping is huge. You ship 1,000 boots in, that's 2,000 pounds. Mm-hmm. And shipping to Europe and all over the world that we do. So we really got onto that, and the way we solved that and kept the sound right was with a different kind of what they call PE board, but a material, a different kind of board, and a more organic substance in the structure that holds the whole thing together, which is bamboo.
Far out.
So we're much greener. In fact, Mr. Brill, Bobby would confirm this. You know, when you're in China, all the scaffolding, which is everywhere, is bamboo. It's not that the Chinese don't have aluminum and steel and iron. They realize this stuff. I mean, I'm blown away by it. It's so light. It's so strong. And so we're using more and more of that in the structure. It's fantastic, and we can grow more of it. So we feel really good about getting the 2 pounds out.
Renewable.
Yep.
Another thing that we did was we had a few complaints, not a lot, but it's cloth, foam, glue, PE board, and you get that new boot smell. And the first go around had quite a bit of it, and the second not so bad. These are odorless.
Awesome.
I mean, now that smell would always go away after a few weeks, but they sit in a box with, they come over from China, and by the time you take it out and you go, holy cripe.
Yeah.
We got rid of that, which we're excited about. A lot of people hang their boots on a boom arm. Some use a partisan stand, or they use it on a table or whatever, but a lot of people hang it on a boom arm by, zipping down the back zipper and putting the show and tell boom arm through. They can occasionally sway a little bit, so we installed an anti-sway Velcro thing on the back of it so that doesn't happen anymore.
That's a big help.
What's that?
It's a big help. I mean, it was a problem before where you've tried to figure out different ways to straighten it out using straps and stuff, but that really solves it, makes it a really nice structure.
Yeah. So, and then the big thing on this, the newest thing on this, there are some evolutionary things. We went to a different light. The first light we had was bright, but it took those little coin batteries that cost you more than the light cost. So we went to a AAA light that would actually hold clip your script right in there. Although lots of people, myself included, not just use an iPhone or an iPad. I was always troubled with the boom arm. There you go. Because that's the original one, yeah. Because if you wanted to hang either the Pro or the Plus on the boom arm, and you didn't want it to rest on the microphone connector, which on the Plus is really not a big deal because it's a very light structure. It's not going to hurt anything. And a right angle is recommended anyway. But on the Pro, this is a much heavier, much larger item, obviously. So what I would recommend, because you're using now the boom, I feel like I'm back in show and tell. And I wasn't very good at it then either. But anyway. Yes, your sister, I'll be done in a minute. You would hang the boom, the booth through the back zipper on this. Well, now you've got a problem here because the end of the boom is where you want to put the microphone, and you could end up with the connector sitting up here.
Right.
A couple solutions that were out there was a beautiful piece of gear made by Audio Technica, which is a swivel. I love this thing. It goes into the end of the boom arm, and you can twist your microphone into any configuration. It's a gorgeous piece of machinery. It's overkill. I think they're about $50 or $60.
Yeah.
It's fabulous. The other solution, which I kept recommending, and still works nicely, is this little $12 onstage stands mini boom that you could then clip on and hang the microphone off the end of that. And it's like a $12 device. Worked. Still troubled me because I thought, this isn't inexpensive. And I ought to be able to come up with a way that the booth would come and you could use it on a boom arm without buying anything else.
Right.
Because I didn't want to start adding something like this to it because now a lot of people, probably 75% of the people, are paying for something they're never going to use. So one night, I'm serious about this. 4 o'clock in the morning, woke up and went, I got it. So I went down to the basement. And I got a booth out and a piece of strap, and I'm am I hungover? Well, I'm hungover, of course, but am I hallucinating? Will this really work? And what I came up with, and this is packed in each of the 3.0 booths, so you get one whether you ever use it or not, doesn't really matter, is the simplest thing you can think of. We've got a hard piece of, I guess that's probably plastic in there, and a little strap, okay? In the bottom of all the porta booths, there's a zipper on the bottom to allow you to bring a microphone up through the bottom if you wish, or if you want to take your mic stand and put it all the way through so it sits on a solid thing rather than on the foam, which I highly recommend if you're using a tabletop microphone stand. By opening up the bottom zipper, sliding this piece of strap through, putting that over the boom arm. Now, I need another hand to do this. And by just pulling this strap down, what happens? This comes up.
It suspends the bottom.
It pulls the booth up about 3 or 4 inches.
Cool.
We're calling this, yeah, I'm actually quite proud, the booth, I can't say booth lifter. And we did the IKEA style thing, if you can see that at all or not, but just simple line drawings.
Cool.
So this comes with every one, and it just, it's such a neat thing that you can just pull that down, the booth goes up. I kept trying to figure a way to raise the booth from the top, and it suddenly occurred to me, well, honest to God, while sleeping, wait a minute, if I pulled that strap from the bottom, the whole booth would go up.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Prices are the same, and I want to, everybody who's watching who's going to email me, who bought a booth in the last month, I know I will get these. Oh, I just bought it, and it is a problem when you make
improvements.
Improvements, because people say, well, I've got the old one. Can I send it back and get the new one? No, because I got to sell your old one, and it's not current anymore.
Yeah.
And I've done it. I did this with a MacBook Air. I finally agonized. I spent a fortune. I bought it, and sure.
Oh yeah.
30 days later, it's like, well, I can't blame Apple. I mean, they can't. You've got to have a cutoff. But we decided on new products that whenever possible, and it worked out well with this, we would, even before we made the formal announcement, which is here on my favorite show, we would start sending out the new product. So if you've ordered a PortaBooth Pro from us in the last 3 or 4 weeks, you already have one. You'll know it because it's just powered by Oralex on it. And you paid less shipping on it, you probably didn't notice. So those are that's our evolutionary 3.0, and I got to thank everybody who's watching or listening that has bought any of the PortaBooth products from me. And I never dreamed I would be in this business, had no intention of doing it, and it's really rewarding. And even Bobby saying that I like that he read our book and said, well, I remember getting the first email from George. I didn't know from Adam. He said, that's a great idea. I'm going to make some for my clients.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to knock it off. I love it.
Yeah, really.
At that point, I wasn't making them, so I shared that knowledge with everybody. I want to thank you guys for the introduction of the Plus, because the Plus has sold beyond our wildest expectations. And a lot of that, I think, is the exposure on your show. And I've already paid for and placed the order for the second go-round on those, so we can have them in time for Christmas, because my biggest fear on the Plus is running out of them. So, love that. Oh, a little sidebar. If you have our PortaBooth Plus, which most people know that was the replacement for the original homebrew that I came up with, I probably made a really dumb decision. And they say no good turn is, what is it? Well, no good
deed goes unnoticed or something like that.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. So we're at the 11th hour. We're all done, and I'm thinking that most people will take the Plus and put it inside their carry-on luggage. I mean, it's designed to go in there. And it was in a plastic bag, and it was fine. And then I thought, well, it's kind of in a plastic bag. What if, you're going to store it in that or whatever? So the 11th hour, I say to Emily Hong, who's the woman I work with on all of this stuff, couldn't we do just an inexpensive storage bag of some kind? So just tie it up. Not a travel thing, like, with a big chunk of the cost of this booth is, this checkable bag. I mean, this is heavy luggage. If honest to God, if you just wanted to buy the bag alone, it'd cost you $100 for the construction.
Right.
I'll do that on the Plus. So she said, well, we could do what they call non-woven. I know a lot about this stuff now, but it's basically plastic that looks like cloth. It's what bags you get at the grocery store are made out of. They're not fabric, and they're very cheap.
Mm-hmm.
She said we could do that at it'd be $1 or so, and I said, yeah, that'll be nice. So it's a freebie. Didn't raise the price. Well, unfortunately, my fault. I didn't really say a free storage bag included, not for travel. And I think George ran into this with one he had. 2 or 3 people thought, oh, I'll use this for my carry-on bag, where you'll rip the handles out of it in about 8 seconds.
Right.
Yeah, we had a few people upset, and I said, it's like the free app thing. It was free. And they say, got this free app. It's not worth the money I paid.
Right.
So, if you have one, I've toyed with taking all of the booths out and not sending them because I don't want somebody to get upset with it. But it's designed to be a dust cover. I mean, it's just.
Right.
We do. I've already seen the photos. I haven't seen the item yet. We are in prototype stage on a messenger type bag that you can use for carry-on for the Plus with room to put microphones and stuff, and that'll be an option. So then people who want that can get that. If they don't, they don't have to.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so that's the housekeeping on that. Then the second thing is with the Portabooth Pro 3.0, we started this little promotion last week. It ends tomorrow night at midnight. You get a free ABS with it.
Excellent. That's a good promo because that's a really useful little gadget.
Yes, well, actually, on the Mother's Day debacle on show, George mentioned the ABS because in the instructions for the Portabooth Plus we mentioned the ABS, and you know I write those things long before the product even gets here.
Sure.
And I knew we had the adjustable boom stop coming out, and I was seeking and have gotten a provisional patent on it. Well, you're not supposed to sell the product until that patent is filed.
Naturally.
So on the last show, you said, "Oh, and Harlan's got that nifty ABS adjustable boom stop. Keeps your boom from falling down." And I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Uh-oh.
Well, it wasn't your fault. How would you know? It was in the instructions, and I went. Oh. So as it turns out, we had a few emails and a few requests, and I found a solution. Calling the attorney, which I don't know what that cost me because I can tell you to get a patent is really obscenely expensive.
Oh yeah.
It's not a level playing field with the big guys like
No.
Boy, I thought long and hard, but I decided I would do it on this. I called him. I said, I got a little problem because, it's on this show, and, and he said, well, how many did you get? 3 or 4. He said, don't sell them, give them to him. If you haven't sold the item, we should have no issue.
There you go.
George, you owe me for about 5 ABS straps. So I just sent them out to people. Anyway,
cool.
Free one if you order before midnight tomorrow night. Now, what is an ABS? Go ahead, Dan, ask.
What, Harlan, what is an ABS?
Oh, that's nice. I'm so glad you asked. That is the adjustable boom stop, or automatic brake system if you want. This is one of those things born out of my own experience with booms, boom arm mics. And one of our clients, J. Horace Black, a nice guy who lives in Indianapolis, does some work in Chicago, and he was an early purchaser of the VO1A microphone. That's, I don't know, can you see that at all? The dented microphone. He bought a mic from me, and he, came home to Indianapolis one night, and he wrote me this little note, and he said, oh, man, the boom arm did what all boom arms do, unless you've got those big old Atlas ones from the studios that are $500. Eventually, they droop. His drooped and dented his brand new microphone. The folks, I felt so bad for him. The mic still worked, didn't hit the diaphragm, but.
And you don't have, and you can use one of those good German K&M mic stands, and they still freaking droop, man.
This is a K&M.
Yeah, those things. Yeah, they're not impervious to that at all.
The problem, and K&M's a good one. I agree with you. 2 things. One, I got a hold of MXL, who makes the microphone, and they got a brand new basket for him for no charge and sent it to him. That's not a warranty claim, but that's one of the reasons I do business with them. And
cool.
3-year warranty, not 1 year. I mean, they're really a good company.
Yeah.
Nope. So I asked him to send me that, and we used it in the photo shoot to show what can happen to your mic. The only solution is a weight, but every microphone weighs a different amount, and every boom arm is a different diameter. And it was like a fellow online that was trying to sell those. Unfortunately, the weights by the time you ship them cost more than the mic stand, and they all have this piece of plastic. And they all rely on 1 or 2, the better ones have 2, fiber or rubber washers.
Mm-hmm.
The rubber gets dried out, They're 10 cents. The fiber eventually gets worn out, and you end up with that.
Right.
So they're relying just simply on friction, and I'm same thing. I'm seeing these things droop all over the place. I thought, there must be a way to solve this that would be simple. And it's particularly bad then when if you want to put a Portabooth Pro or a Plus on it, because you're adding more weight to the thing, and all of a sudden,
yeah.
So I don't care what you do. I mean, you can get out a plumber's wrench. It's not a question of tightening this more. It's just a question that they wear out. I asked a lot of audio engineers around Chicago, professionals, and the two best answers are one music producer said, I don't have a problem with it at all. He had some very expensive mics. I mean, I'd be very nervous hanging up $7,000-$8,000 mic on one of these. He said, I never have a problem. I said, how? Maintenance. So what do you mean? He said, I change those washers monthly.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, he's the real deal. He produces
hardcore,
big music stuff. He may have 10 or 15 stands. He changes these.
Yeah.
When I showed him this, he almost cried. He went, "How much?" I said, $19.95. I'll take 10. Okay. The other one, my other favorite was Don Arbuckle at Audio Recording Unlimited. It's a great studio in Chicago and a long-term friend. I was recording there, and he had hung up George, you're much better on mics. An Elam, I think it is.
Yeah, Elam 251 or something like that.
Genius. Yeah, and that's worth how much money?
I don't know. They're in the north of 2,000. I know that.
Yeah. Couple $1,000, right? Because he knows I like mics, and it sounded as a great mic.
Yeah,
and it was on one of these or an AKG or whatever. And so I'm doing my market research. I said, so Don, aren't you nervous about having that expensive a mic on on a lightweight home, basically home studio stand? He said, no, never moves. I said, it never moves. He said, no, I've hung everything on that mic stand for 4 or 5 years. It never droops, never drops.
That's fantastic.
Now I'm thinking, oh crap, maybe my idea isn't so good. I said, well, how's that work? He said, I got 2 words for you, Harlan. Super glue.
Oh, jeez. Just glues the damn thing. Well,
He got so sick of him dropping down that he glued it, which is okay. If you're in a tight little spot and you're only putting the mic up and down, it's okay.
Oh,
so
man.
what we worked on was, it's a very simple idea, but it really, really, really works nicely.
There's one on that stand right next to you, right?
There's one over here. I'll show you on the stand.
Yeah.
This is how it comes packed. It's called, adjustable boom stop, and consists of what I call the taco. This part that wraps around the boom arm. This plastic part.
Yeah.
But even if it's a thicker one or wider one or whatever, this will accommodate it. And it's very important in this setup that this has a non-skid on it, so it doesn't slide. Because if you don't have that slide, and let's say you want to mic a guy playing the guitar or a kid who's short, you can have a slippage issue going on. That wraps around with 2 pieces of Velcro, holds that. The strap is articulated. In other words, there are 2 straps joined together so that the angle can move around. If you try to do it straight, it won't work.
Right.
You've got an adjustment that's easy. And then the other end, this is really the most critical part of the whole thing, is this little section has, and we tried 40 different kinds of non-skid material. This is really, really, really cool stuff. This wraps around either the upright of the mic stand, if you have the kind with round base, or if you have a tripod, you can put it around the leg. And that then, just basically goes around, you tighten it up, and that's it. So what happens, if you can see this or not, George, on here, on the stand, this is as simple as it gets. That goes there, this goes there, pull it down. You don't even really, you've got a microphone at the other end, you don't even need this thing.
Right.
And it sits there. It can sit here or it can sit there. One of the things I like the most about this is that it gives you the ability for repeatability, because we purposely did it in gray, not black. Everybody thought, do it in black. By doing it in gray, you can take a felt pen. So if this is the setting, let's say, that I had set up for somebody to record, like, say, Dan Leonard, little short guy, I can...
Not that short.
I put a little line, write DL, or draw a mustache. I'm loath to adjust my microphone stand here. I hate that because I got it where I want it. My friend Nancy Sellers and I do a job together about every 6 weeks. Nancy's considerably taller than me, and so now I have an NS setting.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Harlan comes by. He's like George's height, and I CH.
Mm-hmm.
And you are like a lot of us. You're an apartment or a condo, and at the end of the day, you've got to put your recording stuff away. You can give yourself a little mark there. You've got a mark here, and then just collapse the whole stand and leave the ABS on. The next day, raised it up, you're right back where you were.
Fantastic.
So I'm very excited about it. We did the same IKEA kind of thing here, where it's I claim it's a minute setup. Bill Ballenberg got one from me. He said it took him 15 seconds to set it up because it's an obvious thing.
All right.
Very strong, 3 ounces, and like I said, you get a free one now. It's just it's a really simple idea that I'm who knows, I don't know. Could be like pop filters. I mean, there might be that common.
Can't wait.
We've seen a couple of roadies I know that, oh man, I set up this band. I've got 6 stands every night. Half of them droop during the sets. And, Mike the drummer likes it here. And John the singer wants it there. I'll just leave them on. So those are our product announcements. Sorry to be such an ad, but
don't worry,
we've been a total infomercial.
We've been having a good time with you in the chat room, Harlan. So don't worry.
I'll bet you can. All right, come on, let's hear them. That's what's new with me.
Thank you for sharing.
Really,
I love show and tell. Show and tell. No, I love your ideas, and keep innovating, keep solving problems, because that's what Dan and I love to do for everybody else too.
Absolutely.
And Dan does it at homestudiomaster.com, and I do it at vostudiotech.com. And by the way, I will say before we say goodnight, my company name, Eldorado Recording Services, will be vanishing into the history books, and I'm going to be VO Studio Tech all the way. I got a new logo, new website being built, all sorts of new stuff, new services, and a new team of people working with me, including Dan himself, Roy Yokelson, and several others. Dave Immer from Digiphone is my ISDN guy. So, I'm assembling a crack team of experts. Anybody I ever consider to be in any way competition is now working for me, man. No,
everybody works for you, Mr. Hughes.
So no, it's I want to be like the not a one-stop shop per se, but if you have a technical issue in a home studio regarding computers, ISDN, Source Connect, software, hardware, electrical, acoustics, whatever, I want them to have one phone number to call, and that's the idea. So. But thanks to the support and people like Harlan for keeping EWABS going.
Absolutely.
I've been able to, make the time to do things like this for my business. And it's been a hell of a summer. What can I say? Busy. Lots of ideas, lots of innovations. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of the year.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I think that's going to do it for us tonight. We have a few people we have to thank.
Oh, yeah.
For those of you still there, we got to thank Harlan, because Harlan's Harlan.
Of course. Thank you, Harlan.
And of course, we'd like to thank Larry Davis and Elizabeth for the new liners, which you're now hearing between our breaks. And, of course, our wonderful producer, Catherine Currendon. And next week's a little bit controversial. Thank you, Catherine. We love you. Next week, it's also the first night of Jewish New Year, so I probably won't be here, but I will have a new tip of the week for next week that I will pre-record. But I believe that our guest next week is...
Oh, I'm supposed to have that information at my fingertips.
Well,
right?
I have it here. I'm looking to see who's our guest next week. It's Bill Ratner.
Bill Ratner. Yes, and I've been seeing Bill a lot lately because I've been doing some upgrades to his whole network in his house and installed a backup server. And so we've been chatting about making sure that when he's on the show this time, everything will go as smooth as a baby's behind. So I'm going to be self-prepping him in person at his studio, making sure it goes well.
Excellent. Harlan, thanks.
Thank you.
Good night.
Great.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week here in East West Audio Body Shop. I'm Dan Leonard in the East.
And I'm George Whittam in the West.
And together we're East West Audio Body Shop with Harlan in the middle there, somewhere in the Midwest. Good night, everybody.
Good night.